Definitely not the starters. You're on the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
And welcome to the End of the Bench here on August 4th. Yes, indeed, we are extremely deep into the end of the bench. No Rob Bro this week. He being penalized, I guess, Lucas White for not putting up our Short Kings draft results on DoubleTSportsNetwork.com. It'll eventually get put up at some point, maybe, if he's here at any point this week, which I guess we'll just have to see. In his stead, we are joined by Taylor Beadles, who knows a little bit more football than Rob Bro, I'm told.
We'll see.
We'll
see. Yeah, we'll let everybody else be the judge of that.
How about this? You probably know more football. You just don't, cop up to. I mean, he lets everybody on planet Earth know.
I was gonna say, like, I've been paid to know football, but I guess you could say he has too.
Yeah,
so.
That's very true. Well, how about today? Like, right off the bat here, I dropped my kiddo off at a local high school, not to practice football, but another sport, and the fields are completely packed. As a former high school football coach, do you miss days like today, getting up bright and early in the morning for the first practice?
No. I have a bunch of friends that still coach, and so work really started. Kind of coaching school was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then it's just you're in it. And the texts I've gotten a lot fewer texts the past couple of weeks, and
right.
And I know why.
Yeah,
it's because it is. I mean, you think that it's only been a year. Like, how much organizing, how much of so many helmets, how are they so messed up that you need to fix? Like, all these things, it's just amazing how many things can go wrong in a course of a year when you're using most of that stuff, And so, no, I do not miss these days, especially. But there is kind of an energy, like you probably felt it just dropping your kid off. Like, there is an energy that you miss, but the actual work itself. That's honestly when I stopped doing it. I was like, I really only like Friday nights now, and even then, it was like, it's probably time for me to find something else to do.
Yeah, it was cool. Just perusing social media this morning when I let the dog out, and I could see some of my coaching friends, and then other parents whose kids are either practicing football or trainers and whatnot. And then we roll up, and I tell my son, I'm like, hey, you could be out there right now. And he was like, I would gladly be out there if you'd let me. But I was like, I don't know, bud. They've been out there for a while. He was like, yeah, I'm cool with the sleeping in. But, yeah, best of luck to all the high school football coaches and players and everybody that are out practicing this morning and getting ready. The football season just a few weeks away for the high school kids. And, even the Friendship Memorial starting practice this morning as well. We got another high school that'll be playing here on the South Plains.
Panthers,
right. Yeah.
I like the color scheme and logo there. I like the kind of Carolina blue with the navy blue, and then I think the panther head that they picked out was pretty cool. Yeah,
I'm excited to see how that goes over there. I obviously know a lot of people over at the Memorial, moving over there from I was talking to somebody who has a kid at Friendship High School and then another kid at Memorial, and we're like, thankfully my kids were so spread apart I didn't have to deal with that, but that would be an absolute nightmare trying to get two kids to two different places. Yes. All right, so that's the high school football. I'm sure we'll probably talk a little bit if you want to on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. You're more than welcome to let us know if you've got a kiddo, or I guess if you're coaching, you probably shouldn't be texting in. But if you want to do that, as long as the head coach doesn't catch you, I guess.
Maybe they're going in the evening. I had a couple years where we practiced in the evening, so maybe they're chilling this morning.
Yeah, so if you're listening to us, we appreciate that. You can give us a call on the Visual Edge IT hotline as well at 806-771-0973. Lucas is laughing at me because I've done this like 3 times here in the First United Bank studios. It's been a while. It's not like riding a bike, I can tell you that much. It is absolutely not like riding a bike. How was your weekend, Taylor?
It was good. I think I say this every time I'm in here on a Monday, but when it's the summer it's very difficult for me to tell weeks from weekends.
Yeah.
Which is it's the best. Like, I mean, I'm lucky to be able to have those things confused. I guess the kids are home more. The kids aren't at school. That's like the biggest. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. No, but it was good. We did a little bit of back to school shopping yesterday. Yeah. So my daughter needed a new backpack. So we got a nice Minnie Mouse backpack. There we go. So got that picked out, ready to go. But yeah, just chilling mostly. What about you?
Not bad. I mean, it's a little different for me. I absolutely know when the weekend is, I thoroughly enjoy it by doing absolutely nothing if I can get away with it. Did some things around the house that probably are well overdue. Yeah. Didn't mow the lawn. Probably should have done that.
It's all right.
Lucas, you do anything this weekend?
So I'm coaching T-ball, modified T-ball. And the head coach is on vacation, so I had to step up and be the head coach on Saturday afternoon in the semifinals of the tournament that we were in.
Nice.
We started off pretty slow, but we came back and won. So we won the semifinals game on Saturday, so we will be in the championship game Tuesday night for our my first championship, but their second back-to-back. So.
Is the coach coming back to take over?
Yes, he'll be back.
So if you guys lose,
we know who to blame.
Messed up the streak there. All right. It's a lot more low-key because last weekend, right? Was it last weekend?
Last weekend was our
weekend?
1 year anniversary, so we went to Dallas. So
much more low-key weekend for you. But good back-to-back weekends nonetheless. All right, coming up here on the end of the bench, obviously we are getting closer. Texas Tech football on the practice field this morning as well. Workout number 5, I believe, of preseason camp. What number do they usually go whenever they actually put full pads on? They put shoulder pads on Friday. It's getting here quicker and quicker. I know that's the time you probably care about a little bit more as a head football coach, certainly a defensive guy, right?
Yes.
That'll be coming up later this week, but we'll talk Texas Tech football. If we have Taylor Beadles in here, we're going to talk plenty of football.
I like to hear it.
Get your thoughts and your thoughts as well, again, on the Yates Flooring Center chat line on, I guess, maybe your confidence level in the coordinators. That's something that's always been interesting to me. We've talked about this plenty with Mac Leftwich and Sheil Wood, but coming up here a little bit on the show, I want to get your thoughts on what you've seen maybe from both of those guys that gives you confidence that this is a season that Red Raider fans certainly are excited about and why they should be excited about that.
I will give a preview that I'm nervous about how confident I am. I'll give some reasons why, but it's one of those things where I mean, like all of us, we're a little battered, being Tech fans.
Without a doubt, yeah.
So, I'm very confident, and that makes me extremely nervous. But I'll give you some reasons why I'm so confident.
We'll look forward to that. Yeah, it's kind of scary to me too because I'm usually not. I'm very pessimistic. I think plenty of people listening to the end of the bench know that very much, but I'm very optimistic about this season, and this is nothing against Chris Snead. Chris Snead gets very optimistic, but it seems like it's not just him.
Right.
When I'm on board, when everybody's on board, I don't know if I should be even more excited about it or scared. That's the whole gambling thing, right? If everybody's on one side, it's probably going to go the other way, but hopefully that's not the case. All right, we'll get to that topic on Texas Tech football coming up here in a few minutes. But first, coming up next here on the end of the bench, we got to look back at the weekend with a look at the headlines. Not necessarily a great weekend if you're a Rangers or Astros fan, but we'll relive it whether we like it or not. You're listening to the end of the bench on 100.7 The Score.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
So before we get to our Texas Tech talk here, so I'm doing stuff for my other company, college football preview thing. They're doing an entire show for the 2025 season. Then I was lucky enough to be the Big 12 representative. And the producer for the show I'm talking to, he's like, so what name do you want to go by? You go by Dave or you go by David? And I was like, typically David. I really don't care, though. And he's like, how do you pronounce your last name? I was like, Collier. And of course, he goes, "Oh, so like Dave Collier from Full House, huh?" And I'm like, and now you know why I want to go by David.
Yes. I didn't even make that connection.
So,
but
well,
now
I could
that you say
see,
it, yes.
I could see. Well, yeah, trust me,
Yeah.
you haven't lived it for 48 years.
Yeah.
But you get the other angle.
Yes.
No, that 100%. I was not doing the Beatles for that part. It was just for the help part, and we need help when it comes to talking Texas Tech football. Trust me, that's why you are here, and you're going to be with us this week. So the one question I always think of whenever I get into this whole thing, and Choice kind of, eased my worries on this last week when he talked about how many teams actually have new defensive and offensive coordinators.
Mm-hmm.
But is it wrong to be somewhat concerned about the continuity there and how all of these new parts are going to work together moving into the season? I mean, the first 3 games, maybe not so much, but is that why I shouldn't be as worried going into this season with Mac Leftwich and all of the new pieces? I get Coy Aikens here and Caleb Douglas and obviously Baron Morton, but it seems like there's a lot of other moving parts when it comes to this offense.
Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to think about being worried about. Because I was the same thing. I was going to write something for Red Raider Sports about how that should be I was basically going to do reasons Tech will win the conference, reasons they won't. And one of the reasons I thought they won't was because they have 2 new coordinators, or just new coordinators in general. Yeah. And then I started going through the list of conference champions, and there are a bunch that have had new coordinators.
Yeah.
It's not as rare as I thought it was.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I can cross that off the list. So then I started to, dig into the coordinators themselves. And, Sherwood obviously comes from Houston, and they weren't good last season, but his defense was. It's almost, it's not to the level of where, when Cliff was here basically and the team was bad, but the offense was good. It wasn't. First of all, I don't think Houston was as bad as some of those Cliff teams were, but I also don't think the defense was as good as some of those Cliff offenses were. But there is a similarity there. It almost makes it more impressive what Shieldwood was doing, because that offense in Houston last year was really bad. I mean, they couldn't do anything. Yes. And so to put up a defense where, if you look at kind of the big analytic sites, they're in the top 20, 30, in all of those, and all the important metrics, yards per play, yards per drive, his defense is well represented. And if you just look at the scores, you can realize that he at least kept them in the game. And so he's not having to move conferences. He's not leveling up. He knows the conference. He knows how to coach at this level. So I have almost zero concern about that. Yeah. And when you actually watch the film, kind of what his defense is built on is he wants to play base as much as possible. So last year, there was a lot of, and I got this to an extent, but it almost became kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy where you didn't have the personnel to win one-on-one matchups all over the field with DeRuyter. And so what DeRuyter thought is, well, if I'm not going to win these one-on-one matchups, I need to force the offense to make a mistake. So he was, sending all kinds of exotic blitzes, running some interesting coverages in the back end, and he was doing all these things that sometimes worked. And so you'd have games where the defense looked unbelievable, but then if the offense figured them out, like the second half of TCU, didn't even look like there was a defense on the field. And so like I said, it almost became a self-fulfilling prophecy where he was putting his guys who weren't good enough in worse positions because he thought he had to design a win. And so I think Shieldwood is kind of the opposite. And he's talked about this in press conferences, how the best defenses are simple. And the problem with that a little is defensive simplicity is a privilege. You have to have the players to play simple. You can't just line up a bad defense and play simple. That's not going to be a success. But
I was about to say, in theory, though, when you bring Shieldwood in from Houston and one of his better players was Anthony Holmes,
who's
not
even starting.
Yeah, I was about to say he's depth on your football team. That should.
So that goes, so that's why I'm not worried, is because this is a really good marriage here of you should have one of the best rosters, especially defensively in the conference, and you bring in a guy who wants to keep things simple, play base, let his guys play fast and use their instincts, and you've built a defense that's good at that. And so now you have a coordinator who kind of, that's his thing. And so it seems like a good marriage there. Now, with Leftwich, I really like what he did at Texas State. And you go back to those same metrics I was talking about with Shield Wood. Texas State is in like the top 15, offensively. I mean, they were and a lot of those are, they try to take into account level of play. So like they're trying to even the playing field, and Texas State is still up there even with their schedule. So obviously though, you worry about, making the jump from that level to the Big 12.
Yeah.
And I do think there's an element of, I think it's easy. I think you've seen more success stories on the offensive side of the ball, because a lot of the time, like the scheme that you're coming up with on offense, it does kind of translate. Like you've seen it even, I mean, like with, you talk about the NFL, for years and years, the NFL influenced college, which influenced high school. And in modern football, it's almost been the opposite, like things scale up. Like the stuff that starts in high school kind of goes to college, like especially with the spread and all that. And now the NFL's running a lot of that. And so I think offense just kind of naturally scales up. But I do think, like, I was a lot lower on the offense last year than a lot of people were. Like, I know the counting stats were good, but if you needed 3 yards on third down, you weren't going to get it. No. And to me, that's what makes a good offense. Yeah. And then you can say the same for a defense. If the offense, if the defense knows, or the offense needs 3 yards and can stop them, that's a good defense. But so I'm a little more concerned about the offense, because I think I don't think you brought in as much talent there. Proven talent, I guess. Like, it could be as good, but we just don't know. And then your coordinator is obviously making a jump. So I talked for a long time there, but that's kind of my general thoughts on the reason I'm not worried about the coordinators, is because I think there's plenty of tangible reasons to point to and say, like, this could work.
Yeah. Trust me, that's why you're here, to talk a lot. Nobody wants to hear David Collier talk this
I don't know
long.
about that.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on, just little things like Coy Aiken moving inside?
Okay, I'm glad you asked me this. So I heard his quote, Mac Leftwich talks about how he moved. They moved Michael Hudson outside and Coy Aiken inside. And just kind of my brain, I think, like, well, I look at them and I look at their skill sets, and I think you should do the opposite. Yeah. Like, I think Coy looks more like and plays more like an outside guy, and Micah plays more like an inside guy. And so I went back and I watched – I went to Pro Football Focus, and who played the most outside snaps last year for Texas State, and who was like most successful. So and then I watched his film, and I can't remember his name. I can find it real quick. And I swear to you, it looks like Micah Hudson's high school film. Like, it's crazy. I was like, okay, I see that. Like, he's kind of a smaller guy. Like, not your typical outside build. Yeah. He's not a burner. Like, he's not Tyreek Hill on the outside, but he's incredible route technician. Yeah. Like, he gets open with technique, with quickness, lateral movement, which is kind of Micah's thing. And I was like, okay, I get it. That makes sense. So then I did the same thing with the slot, and it was the same result. I was like, okay, that guy plays like Coy Aiken. Like, I don't think he's as athletic as Coy was, which, again, you're watching Texas State, so it's a little different level. But he's running routes that I know, like last year we saw Coy really excelled at those kind of like those zone routes where you're trying to find a soft spot. You're trying to recognize if it's man or zone and kind of run into the open space. Lots of wheel routes out of the slot fades, just stuff that we've seen Coy do and be successful. And it's like, oh, okay, so maybe I'm not thinking about this how I traditionally should. I need to think about it how Mac Leftwich thinks about it, and when I do, it makes sense.
Yeah, smart guy playing a slot and finding open spaces seems like a good way to go. Yep. All right, calendar coming up next on the End of the Bench.
Definitely not the starters. You're on the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
I can't remember where they posted this, probably on Instagram, but Spotify put it on like their hot new country or whatever. And I guess one of the band members texted the lead singer and was like, well, Spotify's putting On the Red River is one of their hot new country songs. And the lead singer texted back and was like, nothing like generational alcoholism to make the Hot 100 or whatever it is. It was like that. Yes. It's a good Turnpike song. Yep. We're talking about generational alcoholism.
And it everybody can relate, I guess.
Yes.
I've heard obviously plenty of them, not enough, because unfortunately I don't listen to music that much. I just, if I'm walking the dog, I'm listening to a podcast.
Yeah.
If I'm in the car, I'm not. I have it on 2 stations. You can probably figure out the 2 stations that I have it on. It's this one and another one that does sports at the throughout the day. We don't want you to go over there right now, so we're not going to tell you about what they got cooking on that side of it. But Turnpike Troubadours is probably something that I would listen to on a regular basis if I did spend any time listening to music. You can tell from my Music Monday that I don't listen to a lot of music.
It's all right.
It stopped at about 2000.
But yeah, I was say they usually they say like your music taste kind of freeze like when you're in high school or college.
Yeah. And it probably did. It ended in college, and I graduated in 99, so that explains a lot. And then it comes back around, but unfortunately it's whatever your kids listen to. And then I get made fun of that whenever I put it on our Music Monday.
No, I mean, I get, my daughter's 4 and loves like Pink Pony Club, and Hot to Go. And so like, I'll just be hanging out singing like, Pink Pony Club. And I was like, man, this song really is good. Like, it's crazy.
I'll be honest, I don't mind that song, and I know we're going to get grief for that on the H Flooring Center Chatline, but that's okay.
It's good. I can't help it. It's just when she requests, there's some songs she requests that I'm just like, I don't think I don't have good enough service to play that. Do you want to listen to Pink Pony Club? Sure, let's do it.
Put that on loop for a little bit. All right, we will get to your thoughts on the H Flooring Center chat line. Don't worry, we are monitoring it. We'll get to that probably at the top of hour number 2. Right now, though, let's take a look at the calendar, Lucas.
Your daily look at what's happening in the world of sports, birthdays, and holidays. Let's check the calendar.
All right, with no Rob Bro, I will do the national days. It's National Coast Guard Day. Thank you to the Coast Guard. And one of probably 30 of these, but National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day.
Does seem like you get a lot of those kinds of things.
I heard Chuck Hines say on the morning drive that I think it was more bragging than anything, but he was like, we're going to be getting some free chocolate chip cookies here at the radio station later today, courtesy of, I believe, Buddy Holly Hall is what he said, but he made sure to point out that they were delivering some to him specifically.
Okay.
That's probably why he brought it up in the first place. National White Wine Day. Anybody?
My wife had some. We went out for her birthday on Saturday. I guess I could have said that during my weekend.
You got highs and lows later, though.
Okay. And she had some that I had a few drinks of. That was very nice.
There we go. Lucas, you're not a wine guy.
Not really a wine guy. I think the last time I had wine was on our honeymoon on the cruise.
Yeah. And that was just because you were getting it.
Yes.
That was.
Let me try anything. Anything you got.
Yeah, whatever you guys got. We're getting all of it for the same price anyway. So, all right. National Single Working Women's Day. So, thank you to all those single working women out there, especially the moms. I can certainly relate to that back in the day. And it's International Owl Awareness Day.
Owl?
Owl. OWL.
Right.
I probably said owl like Al Bundy, but
I coached at a school that were the Owls, so I'll have to let my friends there know. Hopefully they recognize the holiday.
the local area?
No,
okay.
Not Hill Center. Yeah.
Oh, where was
out between like Bryan College Station and Navasota, way out there.
So on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Lucas, you got some birthdays?
Have a couple birthdays. We will start off with John Riggins turning 76 years old. And then we have Roger Clemens, 63. BJ Sherhoff turning 61. I enjoyed watching him as a youngin on the Orioles.
I was really excited. He came here. He was inducted into the College Baseball Hall of Fame because he played at North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And that was out at the Ranching Heritage Center, and I'm a little dork, it's BJ Sherhoff. Nobody else. Well, Gus and everybody there knew who he was, but you know what I'm saying.
Billy Bob Thornton turning 70 years old.
Love me some Billy Bob Thornton.
Yes.
You kind of, when you mentioned John Riggins, and this was kind of, speaking of nerd, sports nerd me, like when I was a kid, like I knew John Riggins was the running back, like for the Redskins, or whatever they're called now.
Yes. Well,
who knows now?
I'm on board with whatever they were at the time.
Yeah, that's probably the right way to do it. Yeah. I'm going to bring this around. So Billy Bob Thornton, obviously. So I read Friday Night Lights as a kid,
mm-hmm.
and and then I watch the show, and Billy Bob Thornton's the coach, and so on the show the character Tim Riggins plays like John Riggins played, and I was like, there has to be a connection. I don't know if there's a connection or if they did that on purpose, but like the white just bruiser running back, like, and they have the same last name, like that can't be a coincidence. But
without a doubt,
I was trying to connect those.
Just a couple more. We have Dylan and Cole Sprouse turning 33. They were definitely part of my childhood.
Sweet life.
Yes, Sweet life. Definitely part. I watched them almost every afternoon after school. And then Paul Reynolds, British guitarist, turning 63. But what I found interesting is if you're in a band, you can basically name your band any name. And he was the lead guitarist and second vocalist for the band called A Flock of Seagulls.
Oh, yeah. Well, we know the
That was a
Flock of
big
Seagulls,
80s band, wasn't it?
Yep, bad hair.
So I found that pretty interesting. And then 2 Louis that would have had a birthday. Louis Armstrong would have had a birthday today, and Louis Vuitton would have had a birthday.
There you
go. All right. On this day, 1941, Brooklyn Dodgers catcher Mickey Owen becomes the first major league player to catch 3 pop fouls in 1 inning.
Wow.
I just thought that was random more than anything. On this day in 1984, Carl Lewis wins the 100 meters in 9.9 seconds in Los Angeles, the first of his 9 gold medals over the next 3 Olympic Games.
That's a line from The Office that always makes me laugh. Did you watch that?
I've seen it, but I crammed the entire the entire show in 3 months? I mean, so
there's a lot. No, when they're doing the thing where they have the speed speedometer outside their office, because and they're running by to see, and that car passes Michael, and it says he's running like 20-something miles per hour, and he says, "Take that, Carl Lewis." That is all, like, I say that just randomly. It always makes me laugh.
Carl Lewis makes us laugh for plenty of reasons. Singing, I can't remember. Texas Tech was playing at Houston, and Carl Lewis was at the game. It was during Cliff, and somebody for Tech was running down the sidelines really fast, and I might have edited clips together of Carl Lewis clapping pregame for him, and Carl Lewis went after me on Twitter.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So I don't mess with Carl Lewis.
That's wild.
Then on this day in 1996, we got to at least get this one in there. Cheryl Swoops wins her first of 3 gold medals with Team USA.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely. As they defeat Brazil in the gold medal game there in Atlanta. All right, 1 hour down here on the end of the bench. We'll talk some more Texas Tech football. We've got Michael Parson, I believe. We'll talk Dallas Cowboys whether we want to or not. You're listening to the end of the bench here on 100.7 The Score.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
All right, Lucas. I think it's time for some burning questions.
2 minutes of non-stop, in-your-face inquiries with no end in sight. It's time for Burning Questions.
All right, the first one I have for you guys. Start, bench, cut. Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, C.J. Stroud.
Ooh, this one's easy for me.
Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, and C.J. Stroud.
I love C.J. Stroud.
You do?
Yeah. When that draft was coming around, I did not understand the Bryce Young over him stuff. It's like, we've all watched the NFL for a long time, right? Like, how many guys who look like Bryce Young succeed? And I know he had a better year last year.
Well, and even on top of that, Alabama quarterbacks, historically.
Yeah. Yes. And so I was like, did you see what Stroud just did to Georgia, which is basically an NFL defense? Like, I would bet on that guy. So, yeah, I'm going to start C.J. Stroud, bench Drake May, and cut J.J. McCarthy, because I think I don't see it with him. It may work because I think that Vikings coach is a genius. Like, he made Sam Darnold look amazing. But the sample size is small. Like, he did some good stuff at Michigan, but a lot of what he did was turn left and turn right, and hand the ball off. So I don't know. I don't know. I need to see it with him.
Yeah. And we've seen more of C.J. Stroud out of that trio.
Yeah, that's
which
true.
makes me want to say him first, but I also have a son who could be listening or watching right now at home after cross-country practice. So I'm going to go with Drake May as the person I will start, since he has a Drake May jersey.
Yeah.
Got that over the past holiday, back on Christmas, I believe.
He probably has the highest ceiling of the three.
Yeah, and I think I like Vrabel.
Yeah.
And Josh Daniels being back for a fourth tour of duty or whatever it is now.
But yes.
So I'll go start Drake May, bench C.J. Stroud. And I'm kind of the same way with you with J.J. McCarthy. I just listening to other people talk about their concerns with him, and I know Kevin O'Connell is a miracle worker, much like Kyle Shanahan is with quarterbacks. But it seems like they've been particularly careful.
Yeah.
I know injury slowed everything down last year, but I've not heard anything great about him. But I mean, if you get the right situation with the right head coach, he can make you look pretty good, and they only need him for a couple of years to look pretty good on that rookie contract. Lucas, I know you don't have to answer your own questions, but
I would definitely start Drake. I think he has, like you guys said, the highest ceiling. Not a very good division, it looks like, this season. So I think the Patriots can start off pretty hot and then kind of see where they go. So I would start Drake, bench CJ, and then cut JJ. But I think JJ is going to be just airmailing it to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, basically, and just hoping and praying that they can come down with the ball. So I think that's kind of their game plan. But that's kind of the three that I would think in that order.
Yeah. The scary thing is I have friends that, in their keeper leagues, they're questioning keeping Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Just for that reason. I'm like,
wow.
Right? I'm like, I'm still keeping Justin Jefferson.
Let's see how it goes. Yeah.
So I saw this on X. These 6 things we hated as a kid, but we love now as an adult.
Okay.
Tell me if you guys agree. Bedtime. Clothing as gifts. Drinking coffee. Taking showers. Vegetables. And staying in on the weekends.
All of those except for clothing as gifts, because that's basically all I get for gifts now. Because I don't really ask. It's not like I'm... And typically, if I ask for something, it's too expensive to get for a gift, so I have to purchase it myself.
Yes.
But yes, every single one of those, without a doubt. I mean,
I don't know about bedtime, but the others, yes.
Well, see, I don't have the luxury of the bedtime that most people have. So if I could sign up for going to bed by 9:45 or something like that on a nightly basis, I think I would. Then, of course, like last night, it's midnight, and I'm like, so what am I going to do? I can't go to sleep right now.
Yes. Yeah.
No, I would completely agree with all 6 of those. Those are all things.
You don't drink coffee.
I do drink coffee.
Okay.
I hate it as a child, but I enjoy now as an adult.
Yes.
Quote unquote. I asked, so all 3 of us are left-handed.
Oh, that's random.
Yeah.
So what is a pro and a con that you've experienced in your life as being a left-handed person? For me, real quick, your desk in high school was made for right-handed people, so that was kind of a con. Also, when you're writing, you're smudging the writing with your left hand, so those are cons. But I guess a pro, for me, being a left-handed point guard, kind of gave me a little bit of an advantage, so it helped.
Not that I really use them that much anymore, but I hated right-handed scissors. When you were a kid, that it was annoying more than anything. Not that you couldn't use them. I will use yours as well, but Not that I was good at basketball, but being left-handed, even most recently, and it hasn't been in the last 5 years when I could actually get on a basketball court. I played a pickup basketball game at one of the gyms here in town and was playing against former college football players, actual athletes, and scoring a couple of times because I was left-handed, and they were like, I didn't expect you to be able to do that. And I was like, don't worry, it won't happen again now that you know that I'm left-handed. But that would probably be the which I don't get to use anymore because, trust me, I'm not on a basketball court ever.
I played, and this was probably, you can blame my Little League coaches, but I played shortstop and second base all through Little League. And then when I got to like high school, they were like, you're in the outfield or you're pitching. What are you doing? And I was like, what? Why? And so that was probably when that's when I basically stopped caring about baseball. Then.
I used to do the same thing because I remember like right at the beginning of junior high, I think, it was almost like the coach was like, okay, let's see where these guys can play. And I was faster than everybody else. So I would go to shortstop.
Yeah.
And I would get out there and I would start playing the inning. And the coach would be like, get out of there.
Yes.
You're not playing short.
Yes.
Like, dang it.
Yes, very annoying. And I could never play quarterback for Mike Leach. So that really bothered me when I was a kid. Didn't end up really mattering.
But, you know, you had big goals, right?
Yeah.
Dreams. You were not a freak athlete, I think is what we can assess from that. All right, coming up next on the end of the bench, Bruce Feldman has released his list of freak athletes. We'll tell you which Red Raiders made that list, and we'll ask Taylor and Lucas what freak athletes they're looking forward to playing for the Red Raiders this season. You're listening to 100.7 The Score.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Let us know how your Monday's going on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Or if for some reason you want to call in on the Visual Edge IT hotline, Lucas might answer the phone. The number is 806-771-0973. He might not, but it's worth a shot. Easier to get a hold of us on the Yates Flooring Center chat line, obviously. Like, I don't know how to say this, so we'll just say the suspect Oklahoman. Sus OK asks what classification will Memorial be this upcoming season. I don't think there's necessarily a classification now. Recent classification is coming up this coming year, right? So I don't know if they've said. I would guess a 4A. I mean, maybe they have said, but I think those are all guesstimates.
Let me make sure before I
think I might have been told during a parent meeting at some point.
They are 4A.
Okay.
For the 25-26
okay,
school year.
Okay, so 4A. There you go. Which seems about right.
Yeah. I think that's what Lubbock Cooper's second school started as well.
Yeah. I think the more interesting thing is to see when everything's reclassified what the older schools will be.
I know, like, when I worked there the past few years, they made it sound like it was going to take a while to even the schools out the way they're doing it. So
I just wonder. I mean, I'm sure that they'll still be 6A, but I've always wanted. I mean, maybe this isn't a popular opinion, but I've always wanted Friendship to move back down to 5A.
No, I think that's pretty common.
I mean, and partially not selfishly, but I mean, playing most of your home games here in town, for one, two, avoiding South Lake Carroll.
Yeah. Which I think last year the soccer team beat them.
They did beat them, like on a header, So, anytime you can win against South Lake Carroll as a Friendship Tiger, it's a pretty good day. All right, I mentioned this earlier, but every year, Bruce Feldman, I don't know how many years he's been doing it now, but he released his...
It might be what he's most known for now, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. I mean, for us, it was, obviously Mike Leach for the longest time. But, with the... And I'm not calling... it's clickbait. I mean, right? This is kind of a clickbait thing. But, I mean, I think he puts a lot of effort into it, obviously. I mean, if NFL scouts and... everybody, they're looking forward to it. But it's basically an article on the strongest, fastest, and most physical players in college football. You want to take a guess at how many number one, I will say, I don't think this shocks too many people. Jeremiah Smith, Ohio State's wide receiver, on that list. I don't know if you've perused it or looked at it yet.
I have, unfortunately.
So that's fine.
I can't guess.
I bet Lucas hasn't looked at it yet. Lucas, you want to guess how many Red Raiders? Now, I will say on the website, it's 101 athletes. You want to guess how many Red Raiders have made that list?
Just a shot in the dark. 8.
Nope, much shorter list than that. 3 Red Raiders in total making the list. Guess we'll work our way from the bottom up, which probably would have been a good idea for me to scroll towards the bottom before I said that. But checking in at number 88, I believe, is Davion Carter.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Actually, this list features a couple of offensive linemen. It says Carter arrived from Memphis last year and was Tech's starting right tackle. He was the second highest graded offensive lineman according to PFF. Has an impressive combination of agility and power, clocked a 18.88 mile per hour, and the GPS at a stout 6 foot 300 pounds. Also benches 425. 245 might be a problem. 425 and squatted 655 this offseason. What are your thoughts on Davion Carter going into the season? Because it almost seems like, I don't want to say an afterthought, but with everybody else that's come in, it's not somebody that we talk about as much.
I think he is one of those that might be a little bit of a he will look better when the offensive line as a whole is better. And he was fine last year, but the offensive line last year was such a mess that it was hard to know for sure. But I think he might be the type that just kind of plays. If the offensive line around him is more successful, he'll fit right into that, and he'll be able to do what's asked of him there. And even if he ends up just being depth, which doesn't sound like, I mean, everything coming out of the spring and now with fall camp here, it sounds like he is a guy that is like almost sharpied in as a starter.
Yeah.
But it never hurts to have like a guy like him who's old and experienced and knows how to play. So I think it's great that he came back.
Number 80 on the list, Howard Sampson, and I think we know why he's on the list. 6'8", 335 pounds. Also moves well, bench 385, squatted 605. I know you maybe, I'm assuming maybe you've looked at tape. You seem like a guy that looks at a lot of tape. What impresses you about him other than his stature?
He doesn't play you would think a guy like him who's that tall that would be it would be used as a detriment, and he doesn't. It doesn't really he's like why this list was created. Yeah, there are times when he gets out of his stance, has like a hand down block to help out the guard, and then he goes up to the second level to latch onto a linebacker, and he does not look like an offensive lineman when he's doing that. He's moving his feet well. He tracks him, blocks him, and then once he gets there, he is all of 6'8", whatever weight you said, and that linebacker's not going anywhere. So he's a little up and down, but what everybody says about him is he's still growing, not physically, but as a player. Yeah. Because he started at UNT, right? Mm-hmm. And then went to North Carolina, and it's when people say he's more of a project, that's a weird thing to say about a guy who's will be in his 4th or 5th college football season. But you watch the tape and you see that you can tell his best football is ahead of him. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of guys. I mean, the NFL is filled with guys like that. Yeah. So I think this he's the type of guy he's the reason these lists are a thing.
Another guy that's the reason he's 43. And I think it's no surprise if you've listened to anything Texas Tech football related. It's another one of the transfers, outside linebacker David Bailey from Stanford. 22 and a half tackles for loss, 14 and a half sacks in 3 seasons at Stanford. He also, the footnote at the end of this whole thing on David Bailey mentions his new teammate Romello Height, also almost as freaky, and mentions how fast he is. Mm-hmm. I don't think, and As much as David Bailey is freaky, I think we're forgetting Romello Height. What are your thoughts on both of those guys?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference between the two of them is like Bailey has the numbers, like the actual he had a big sack season last year for Stanford, and Romello Height had big pressure numbers, but did not necessarily have the sack numbers, and so that's probably the biggest difference between the two. Is if you were to give Romello Height David Bailey's sack numbers last year, he probably wouldn't be here because he was drafted. Like that honestly, they go about it a little differently. Like Romello Height is a little more like he uses his power and just like sheer athleticism. David Bailey is a little bit more of a technician, and like he has that bend that scouts always talk about with pass rushers, where they're still moving at the pace that they need to be moving at, even though they're bent almost at a 90-degree angle going around the tackle. So they'd go about it a little differently, but they're both effective. And if Romello Height can kind of take some of those pressures and turn them into sacks, then there's not a huge difference between the two.
Yeah.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
All right, final 15 minutes here on the End of the Bench. Get your questions in for Ask the Benchwarmers on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Then the last 20 minutes, the USA Today coaches poll, correct? Has been released.
Yes.
Red Raiders checking in at number 24 in the country.
I'll take it.
Higher? Do you expect higher or lower?
I
can't really go much lower, but
I honestly expected. I mean, just based off the past couple of years, I just wasn't expecting anything. Like it wasn't even on my radar because I just assumed. I don't know. I that's probably an incorrect assumption, but it's just like we'll probably have to prove it. So it's nice to get a little. I mean, because the bad part is that kind of stuff matters.
It does, yeah.
Because it's very, very difficult. I mean, Arizona State did it last year, obviously, but it's very difficult to come from nowhere, basically, and gain the respect needed for the committee. So it's nice to be in there.
Yeah, and clearly with the non-con, you're not going to move up that much with winning, but with the fact that you're already in it,
yes,
you might move up. We'll say up to 19 or something like that, but it's a lot better than not having to break your way in.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, because with your non-con, you were absolutely not going to get in, so it's nice to be in.
Yeah. Texas, number 1 in the country, followed by Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia, and Notre Dame round out the top 5. Clemson, Oregon, Alabama, LSU, and Miami, your top 10. Just outside the top 10, the Arizona State Sun Devils at number 11. That's Kansas State at 20 as well, and Iowa State 22, BYU 23.
So that's kind of how the conference works. There's just a bunch clumped right there.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what this conference is, and it's funny. You mentioned to me just a moment ago, Brett McMurphy announced his AP vote on 3 today, and he had Texas Tech at 23. Is that what you said?
Yes. Yeah.
He has them at 23. We visited with a lot of the media members at Big 12 Media Day to get their preseason Big 12 predictions since there was no media poll this season, and Brett McMurphy told me, I'm pretty sure if I'm remembering right, that he had Texas Tech playing in the championship game, finishing second. But right now he has, I think, at least 3 other Big 12 teams in front of him. It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yes. A lot has happened since you asked him those questions. So.
This is very true. This is very true. Not anything on the field, but a lot of days have passed since Big 12 Media Day, thankfully, because, my goodness. I doubt, as a former coach, you're a fan of media days.
I mean, I just don't take much from it.
Yeah.
It's one of those, like, almost only bad things can happen.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Well, trust me, the media probably feels the same way about it most of the time. KMO from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Tech's offense ranked 9th nationally, defense 128th. That's the reality.
No, it's not. I'm sorry. I don't know. I assume that's like yards per game or scoring or something, but that's just not stats that matter.
Let's see. You didn't play complimentary football last year. Plain simple.
Fact.
Handcuff play calling. I agree with both of those.
Yeah.
If our offense was similar to our defense, we win maybe 4 games last year. The D was historically poor.
In some games, that's what's frustrating. Some games they were.
Yeah.
Some games they were okay. It was weird. I mean, it wasn't weird. You watch it and you were sending crazy blitzes and playing weird stuff behind it, and sometimes the teams couldn't figure it out, and it looked good, and sometimes they could, and it looked horrific. So
yeah, horrific, an understatement. Mr. B on the chat line, thank you for letting me know. I haven't been perusing Twitter like I typically do on this show, but yeah, he says unfortunately Tech is the fifth best squad in the conference according to the coaches poll that was released. So we are going to have to put in some work. I still, being ranked in the preseason, rankings don't matter, but
they kind of do.
In the long run, they do. And if you're ranked preseason, I think that's a good thing. Even if you are 5th behind 4 other Big 12 teams, and you got to play a handful of them anyway. At least 3 of them. So
yeah, you can do your own work.
Yeah,
there.
I was about to say you make up ground that way if you are indeed better than them. All right, Beadles, come put the stripes on and call football with us if you're really missing it. We're short of officials. Meeting tonight, 6:30 in the Cooper Middle School cafeteria for anyone who is interested, not just you. Would you want to be around?
I tried it when I first got out and I was doing my PhD work, and I was like, this might be a good way to earn some extra money. And I agree. Everybody should go out there and do it, but I can't, because for the whole years I was coaching, you would blow the whistle before the players went to the ground in practice.
Yeah.
And I reffed like 2 games and I had to stop the 3 because I kept doing that.
Yeah.
I kept blowing the whistle dead before the tackle would happen, because that's what I did. That's what you do. Very rarely are you going full bore, 11 on 11. We are like, just, you can't, there's not worth the risks of that. And so I kept blowing the whistle early. And my brain just was wired differently. Like I was not watching for penalties, I was watching for performance, and those are just 2 very different things. So my brain, I wish I could help. My brain won't let me help. Yeah. So, but that is a big problem, what he's saying. I mean, I experienced it as well. Like they absolutely need officials.
Yeah.
We all love it, and they are necessary to it happening. So
yeah, so if you can go again, 6:30 tonight in the Cooper Middle School cafeteria. Anyone interested on being an official? Because we would like all these games, and they have to move around at Thursdays. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just some of those guys have packed schedules, and we are grateful for each and every one of them that call the games, even if they do make some bad calls from time to time.
Then smaller schools, they suffer the most.
Yeah,
and, it's a problem.
All right, from Bullfighter here, Benchwarmers. How many quarterbacks out of the NFC would you rather have than Dak Prescott?
This is a good question, because I've heard this asked, because when you think about like the best quarterbacks in the NFL, they're almost all in the AFC. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing to just point to, like how annoying the Cowboys being inept has been, because they've had a pretty clear run to the Super Bowl if they wanted it. I'm trying to think. I would not take Hurts over Dak. I say that. We'll see what Dak looks like this year. I would take Jalen Daniels over Dak, just based off of, like, I think I want to see where he ends up.
You kind of know what you've got with Dak. You've got a young and a lot of potential with Jalen Daniels.
I'm kind of a Jordan Love truther for the Packers. Like, I think he is really good.
Yeah. So you're a Matt Wells guy.
No. I think that should have been a red flag when we hired Matt Wells. Is he ended up having like a really good quarterback at that level, so I guess all of these are kind of like I'm picking upside, like Jalen Daniels, Jordan Love. I would take Caleb Williams just because I saw what he did at USC, and that's the closest thing I've ever seen to Patrick Mahomes. But I've always liked Michael Penix, but probably
Jared Goff.
I wouldn't take Goff. I think Goff is way too situation dependent, and I don't trust our situation at all. I would take Stafford, even though he's old.
Yeah.
He is still incredible. Like he probably should have beat the Eagles last year. Like they had some bounces not go their way in the snow. I wouldn't take Purdy. I'm not really a Purdy guy.
Not Russell Wilson.
Kyler Murray is fun for like half the season.
Yeah, he's fun. I don't know if you're going to win with him, though.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's what's weird. In the NFC, other than Stafford, you're basically just taking upside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird the way the quarterbacks are divided up. Because, yeah, I mean, you go to the AFC, you're probably taking 10 over Dak. It's crazy.
Jalen Hurts win, or does Dak win if he's on the Eagles roster, though?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Can't do the brotherly shove with Dak Prescott.
Maybe you could. We've never tried.
I don't know. You don't want to risk anything else with those extremities. All right. We appreciate you joining us here on the End of the Bench. This duo will be back on Wednesday. I believe it's Choice and Craig tomorrow with Lucas. Thanks for listening to the End of the Bench here on 100.7 The Score.
This has been the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 107thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.